So, Ginger,
Yeah?
you know how we wanted to start a podcast, but we were having trouble coming up with a topic?
Yeah?
Okay, so here's my pitch. The topic of the podcast is us trying to come up with the topic for the podcast.
What, like we pitch each other podcast ideas and that's the podcast?
Yeah, exactly. We could call it, What Should Our Podcast Be About?
Miles, that's really stupid. Let's do it.
What should this song be about? I'm trying to figure it out. What should this song be about? Could you perhaps help me out? I've had a moment of doubt. What should this song be about? Welcome to What Should Our Podcast Be About? I'm Miles Grover.
And I'm Ginger Barham.
And in this podcast, we try to figure out what this podcast should be about. Ginger, do you have any pitches to get us started with?
Oh, I'm starting?
You don't have to, I suppose.
All right. Actually, you know what? You go first. I don't want to be the first one to present my dumb ideas.
Okay, well, that's an interesting energy we're starting off with here. Okay.
I'm hoping that your ideas will be dumber than mine, and then I will look good by comparison.
There's basically,
Is that the energy you want?
There's basically no chance that my ideas won't be very dumb, so probably they'll be dumber than yours.
All right, well.
But I can start. It's
Okay,
fine.
you start.
Okay.
You first.
First idea is, we know that true crime podcasts are popular. Like most popular podcasts, if you look up the charts, like a lot of them are true crime podcasts.
All right.
But I don't particularly like true crime podcasts. I know you have listened to some.
Sure, yeah. Well, at least one.
You've listened to at least one. And I don't particularly like them. And also, I don't like doing research.
Yeah, I remember because when I was listening to it while doing unpacking when we first moved to Brooklyn, you specifically requested that I not listen to it while you were around.
I think it was bumming me out, yeah.
I can't imagine why.
Probably because of all the murder.
All the murder.
I mean, I listened to Serial, which I guess you could call a true crime podcast, but it's not like this guy definitely murdered a ton of people, and let's talk about how all the people were murdered and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But besides that, also, I don't know anything about crime, really, or like doing research, or having to be factually accurate about things. You know, all that stuff's kind of a drag.
So is your pitch a podcast about how you don't like true crime podcasts?
Well, that's an interesting idea. Maybe we'll circle around to that. But my pitch is a false crime podcast.
Okay.
Where we just make up the crimes.
Okay.
And talk about it.
All
I don't
right.
know. Is that anything?
That could be fun. What did you have any example crimes that you've come up with? Like
Okay.
what type? Like would the fake crimes all be murders or any kind of? I mean, I guess true crime is usually. I feel like true crime is usually murder.
The big ones seem to mostly be murdery ones, which is why I'm saying like. I mean, I guess Serial was about a murder, but like it's kind of a different situation. It was like, did he even do it, right? But I don't actually have any particularly good examples. I was hoping maybe you could make up some crimes, but a couple things just occurred to me.
All right.
One is we have a cat who does a lot of crimes. They aren't literally crimes, but he broke a little bat thing we had the other day. He is always getting on the table, even though he definitely knows he's not supposed to, and then knocks a bunch of crap off. Maybe we do a podcast about cat crimes.
Cat crimes. I would listen to that podcast.
Right?
I would definitely listen to the podcast where people reported their cat crimes.
And would we like analyze the crime? What do they do on the crime podcasts? This is a flaw in my pitch, is I don't actually really listen to them, so I don't really know what they do on these podcasts.
So I listened to My Favorite Murder for a while, which they would just pick a case and talk about it.
So it's like the case of Goosebump getting on the table again and knocking off our cute little bat
Yeah, and they talk about their feelings regarding it.
I was mad.
If there were any...
My feeling was mad, mainly.
All right.
Keep going.
If there's any mystery surrounding it, you know.
Why does he want to be on the table so bad?
Why does he want to
Why does he want to be on everything?
Did he set out to break
the
pot?
I moved that pot from somewhere else that he keeps jumping up on that he's not supposed to be, so that he wouldn't break it. Because he knocked it off of there, but luckily it didn't land. It didn't hit the floor.
Yeah.
So I moved it to the table, and of course he knocked it off the table.
That place being the TV stand.
Right, where he could also potentially knock the TV off. That would be the biggest cat crime.
Yeah. We could do made up cat crimes, too.
So a false crime, cat crime podcast, you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. That feels like it could be something, right?
That could be something.
Our cats commit enough crimes to get us...
people call it... Well, I feel like it would get old fast if it was just our cat's crimes. So I feel like we would need to take submissions from other people and, like...
Sure.
Report on other people's pet crimes.
Yeah, I'm saying our cats do enough crimes for us to get started, right? Before we have any listeners. Assuming we ever get listeners.
Should it just be cat crimes, or should it also include dog crimes?
Dog crimes? Well, okay, so that brings me to the other idea I thought about, which is koala crimes. Now, the reason I mentioned koala crimes, I don't know how many crimes koalas do, but that's the problem, because koalas have fingerprints that are basically indistinguishable from human fingerprints. So we have no idea how many crimes koalas are committing that are getting pinned onto humans.
Yeah, I mean, koalas are really dumb, though.
Well, very dumb, but they're just lucky that they happen to have fingerprints like humans.
Yeah.
So they could be out there doing all kinds of...
You think they're playing dumb?
No, I think they just are dumb. Well, I mean, maybe, but they could just be dumb, go out and do a bunch of crimes. The cops come and they see a bunch of fingerprints, and they're like, well, humans must have done this. And then they probably find, a minority to pin it on or whatever. But, like, the koalas get away scot-free, not even realizing, A, probably that they did a crime, or B, how they're getting away with it, right? Okay, so far...
I don't really know how to respond to that.
Yeah, so that one maybe doesn't have as much legs as the Cat Crimes podcast. Cat Crimes could be something, though.
All right. Well, do you want to hear?
And false crimes could also be something. So that's two possibilities.
Do you want to hear some of my ideas?
Sure.
Well, my first two ideas involve our baby.
Who decided to pipe up just now? Good timing on his part.
The first one was just a podcast where we talk about cute things that our baby does.
Yeah, like make these little noises.
Yeah, like make these little noises, and I mean, and the great part is that he's gonna do more and more cute things as he grows. Mm-hmm. So endless content. Also, I really enjoyed talking about him. So, the downside of that is I don't think that's a thing people particularly want to listen to.
Right, that's the thing where you want to talk about your baby and nobody else really wants to hear about your baby.
Yeah.
And by your baby, I mean our baby, and we both want to talk about him. And some people kind of want to hear about it, people we know. But people we don't know probably don't.
Right.
But then again, our baby's very cute.
Yeah, he is very cute. Also, you didn't tell me to come up with good ideas. You just told me to come up with ideas.
You just heard my first couple ideas. They were not particularly good ideas, so...
Possibly more interesting than discussing...
Let's just throw out some ideas, and then we'll circle back to the ones we like and talk more about them.
All right. My second one was nicknames that we've come up with for our baby, which I also feel like is a lot of content because our baby has a lot of nicknames.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Grumpus, little Grumpus, little Goblin, little Milk Goblin, Rorysaurus, little Pterodactyl, Mr. Poopy Pants, just to name a few. That one probably doesn't have as much content.
I mean, where would we go with that? Where could we go with that? Like...
Yeah,
here's some good suggestions for you to nickname your baby. If your baby is grumpy, call him a little Grumpus. Like we do. Or
yeah, it's a helpful podcast.
It's a self-help podcast? No, that's...
It's a baby help podcast.
It's an advice podcast specifically about baby nicknames.
Specifically about baby
There
nicknames.
are a lot of advice podcasts out there, and so it's good to find a niche, your own, or niche. Did we say niche or niche? I feel like nobody says niche anymore, but anyway, niche that your podcast can fit into, because how do you differentiate yourself? Well, ours is only if you're looking specifically for nicknames for your baby, which literally nobody has a hard time coming up with nicknames for their baby, I think. So maybe that one doesn't work.
So maybe not the best idea.
Do you want to hear a really stupid idea?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because all of the other ones were very good.
Yes. Well, they're all stupid, but some are more stupider than others.
All right.
Okay, it's a fan cast of Dude, Where's My Car, the movie. And it's called Dude, Where's My Podcast. And that's all it is. It's just it's just
discussing.
Like we talk about the movie, what happens in it. We re-say some of the same jokes they say in the movie because people are like, oh yeah, I remember that joke.
And it comes out like twice a week, right?
At least. It's a little bit like the Worst Idea of All Time podcast, where they watch like Sex and the City every week for a year or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, that podcast.
I haven't listened to that one.
They're the same guy. They're on the Paul Blart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Guys.
I do remember them discussing that now.
Yeah, but it's specifically where Dude, Where's My Car, and it's for all time. Not just 1 year.
Not just once a year either.
We have to watch it. And I guess if we're doing it twice a week, we probably have to watch it twice a week. Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm not on board with that.
I just liked Dude, Where's My Podcast as a title, and I tried to work backward from there, I guess.
This is why you don't start with the title.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good title.
Is it, though?
I mean... It does what it says on the tin, I guess.
What if it's Dude, Where's My Podcast? And it's like the podcast is about Carmen Sandiego stole my podcast. And we have to find her.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
Okay. Well. Okay, you're right. That's nothing. All right. Do you have any more good ideas to start us out with here?
Well, no, I don't have any more. I didn't have any good ideas. The next one on my list was Birds Are Real, which is a podcast where we refute all of the points saying that birds aren't real. And I have a bonus for this one in that I came up with a title for it as well. Yes, Virginia, there is a pigeon.
Okay. So this is kind of like somebody debunking like flat Earth stuff, except nobody actually thinks birds aren't real.
Right.
So that's the fun aspect to it, is we're proving something that everybody already knows.
Yes. I mean, if you want to get didactic about it, yes.
I mean, yeah. A podcast telling you facts about birds is necessarily going to be a didactic podcast, I would think. But I could be on board.
meant didactic about the joke, but...
Did you mean pedantic about the joke?
Well, maybe I meant both.
Okay. So what would that look like? It would be like...
Well, we'd have to... Well, the fun part about this is it means we have to spend a lot of time on the Birds Aren't Real website, which I enjoy.
Is that just one website, or is there...
I think so. Oh, maybe there's more of them now.
I don't know.
I've only seen the one.
I'm not aware of that website, I don't think. Specifically.
I think it's a website.
I've heard of the idea that people talk about birds not being real as like a fake conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Like a joke conspiracy theory.
Yes. And that, so I guess that would be step one in the research, would be check if there actually is a website or if I made that up in my head.
There probably is at least one website, I would think.
I know that there were products you could buy, like Birds Aren't Real products, so I'm pretty sure there's at least a website for that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there was like joke information about like all the reasons why birds aren't real, and you're being tricked into thinking that birds are real.
Right. I feel like it's like the birds are just like government drones or something.
Yeah.
They're watching you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like that one's not too hard. A lot of people have done not autopsies, dissected a bird in school and stuff like that. Like, I've seen birds in real life enough to know they're pretty definitely not robots, unless there's some kind of robot technology that's far beyond anything I'm aware of, I guess. But also, what is the government learning from these birds? Like, these people, I know about the outside of their house. Otherwise, I don't know anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, birds aren't, like, able to get a lot of sensitive data.
Get everybody bird watching to distract them from the horrors going on around them in the world.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, I'm not sure how much meat there is on those bones, but maybe.
Yeah, well, most birds don't have a lot of meat on their bones.
Well, that's not true. Like turkeys and chicken, they breed them to have a lot of meat on their bones.
Well, most birds.
Okay, that's fair. Most birds. The domesticated ones, that's what they're domesticated for. But yeah, that's fair.
Well, not parakeets.
Okay. The ones they domesticated for eating.
No one's eating parakeets. Well, somebody might be.
Is that a challenge?
No.
Where am I going to even
No,
get
it is not a challenge. I'm a vegetarian and I'm not advocating for eating pet birds.
Okay. I feel like that might be enough ideas for right now. Maybe we should...
I have one more.
Okay, you want to talk about one more?
That kind of was an offshoot of the birds are real, which is weirdest conspiracy theories.
Okay.
I thought that could be kind of fun.
That could be something.
There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there, such as birds aren't real.
Right. Flat earthers.
There's a lot of really weird real ones that people believe. Yeah, such as the earth is flat. Or
QAnon, all that stuff.
Yeah, anything from QAnon. Just pick one.
Okay, but those are pretty mainstream conspiracy theories. What are the weird conspiracy theories?
Yeah, well, those are weird conspiracy theories, even though they're the mainstream ones. It's kind of sad that you don't have to dig as deep to find weird conspiracy theories anymore. But
well, I feel like it's kind of like you have to calibrate what weird means in the context of conspiracy theories, right?
All right.
So QAnon, flat earthers, they're not weird in terms of conspiracy theories since they're like the main ones or
maybe
big ones right now.
Obscure conspiracy
theories.
Like
weird ones that like are weird even for conspiracy theories. Like maybe there's a guy out there who thinks the government is paying fish to find out about your underwear. I don't know.
Paying fish to pretend to be birds. Every pigeon you see is just 3 goldfish in a pigeon suit.
I've always thought it was funny to suggest that the idea that tinfoil hats can protect you from the government reading your mind is itself a conspiracy theory propagated by, I don't know, big tinfoil, I guess. Or maybe by the government, because tinfoil hats actually make it extra easy for them to read your mind.
It is weird, right? Because, like, it would act as a conductor, right? It wouldn't...
it could be like a Faraday cage, I guess. That must be the idea, right? If you put tinfoil there, it can't get through it somehow. Even though, like, it's not like it stops x-rays or anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't know. It sounds like we would have to do some research if we really wanted to talk about what the weirdest conspiracy theories are. And, like, find people who have really weird conspiracy theories. So, that's kind of a problem for me.
Yeah. It would involve more research.
Is allergic to doing research.
Yeah.
Basically.
It would involve more research. So, I guess it's back to the drawing board.
Well, so I think what we should do is talk about, or think about the ones we've talked about so far and try to develop the best, like whatever we think is the best one.
Okay.
Which I think, to me, is probably Cat Crimes.
Yeah.
As a podcast.
Yeah.
It could just be called Cat Crimes also.
It could just be called...
Like, that could just be the name of the podcast.
Cat Crimes.
Cat Crimes. That's pretty good, right? It tells you what Tells you enough, right?
Yeah. I mean, I like the alliteration, and I would probably check it out if I saw something called Cat Crimes.
Like, there's a podcast called Cat Crimes where they discuss crimes that cats did. And we could even have, like, a whole, like, judgment on them. Do we need cat lawyers? Some kind of cat law?
In general, I think we do need cat lawyers.
just as a general
broadly
situation.
speaking.
Yeah. We need like British... We need cat barristers or cat solicitors or
cat solicitors,
whatever they call them, in like the places where they have to wear funny wigs, right? That's what we need.
Are the barristers the judges and the solicitors I don't know.
I feel like judges are still called judges. I think solicitors and barristers are both different kinds of lawyers, maybe, or maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I don't know. Yeah. Whatever kind of lawyer or whatever in Great Britain has to wear the curly wigs, or judges.
When I watched Broadchurch, I feel like they were all wearing the silly wigs.
Yeah.
So,
whatever kind that is, we need cats doing that, for sure.
I also broadly support cats and silly wigs.
I mean, I think the podcast is us passing judgment on cats. I don't think cats are going to actually get lawyers.
Maybe we pick which is the worst crime at the end of the podcast out of all the crimes that we've discussed that episode.
Or maybe it's just like we hear a few cases and we judge each one of them and say, like, this cat has to go to cat jail for a year or whatever for 50 years. If it was cat murder or something, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how sentencing works, but...
Yeah. I mean, I don't believe in prison for humans, so I don't know if I believe in punitive justice for cats either.
True. Also, cats can't really be redeemed, I don't think.
They definitely can't.
Like, you can't rehabilitate cats.
I mean, we haven't even successfully domesticated them, so...
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, cats and their crimes, a lot of them are going to be like... The cat has some kind of needs that aren't being met.
Or it's just you have a wild animal living in your house, really.
Yeah, it's a combination of those things, right? Cats have needs that don't get met. Like, you didn't play with it enough and it's bored and it wants to just knock everything off the shelf or whatever. Or this is a weird behavior that cats in the wild, it makes sense in the wild and they'd still do it here because we barely domesticated them.
Yeah.
But then again, if you think about crimes in real life... Those are usually basically the same two things causing it, right? Either someone wasn't getting what they needed in life, from perhaps a very young age, or humans are also kind of wild animals and just do crazy crap sometimes.
Yeah. We just haven't built a proper society for cats, is what you're saying.
We need socialism for cats. That's the only way to solve these issues.
Yeah, I mean, cats are basically anarchists, right?
But we could do a fun thing of, like, talking about the crime in a very, like, like in a, Robert Stack on, like, Unsolved Mysteries kind of thing or whatever. Like, it's like, it was 7:45 on Tuesday night, April 22nd. Muffin was nowhere to be seen.
Maybe have bonus YouTube episodes where there's a dramatic reenactment.
Right. Dramatic. Oh, well, we could do radio. Ow! Speaking of cat crimes, the cat literally just attacked my foot. Goosebump, you freaking criminal. Stop attacking my foot!
What about if the punishment is, like... If the punishments are like... based on what the cat would actually need to, be quote-unquote rehabilitated. Like, we sentence him to 50 play sessions with one of those little feather toys, or we sentence him to 1 hour of vigorous petting.
That is liable to cause more cat crimes, I think, but I see what you're saying. Maybe it's like a small claims court type thing where it's like the cat is the defendant and the owner is the plaintiff, and we as the judge need to rule in favor of the plaintiff or the defendant, right? This cat did this crime because you, the plaintiff, didn't do something.
Okay.
Or this cat is liable for its own crime because it's wacky and the owners did nothing wrong.
In which case, the podcast would also be somewhat educational. It's like...
About, like, what cats need and stuff.
Yeah, here's the things you could do to meet your cat's needs.
So, it's kind of like a My Cat from Hell sort of thing.
Yeah, a little bit.
This sounds like it might need some research, so...
Well, luckily, I pretty much already I'm constantly doing research on cats.
By accident.
Just
looking at Instagram.
Because I just love all things cats.
Yeah.
And a fun fact about me, I worked as a vet assistant in a cat clinic for some time.
So you already have, like, backup cat knowledge.
I do. I have some backup cat knowledge, so...
And we have watched some Jackson Galaxy stuff.
I'm more of a subject matter expert on this subject than the average person.
Or the average bear.
The average bear. The average bear.
Either one.
Not more than the average cat, probably.
Well, kind of. Do they know what they actually need? Why they do things? Probably not.
Probably not, no.
Okay.
But only because they're not capable of forming those thoughts. If they were capable of higher reasoning, they could probably communicate it to us. But...
Well, sure. If the world was completely different than it is, then yes, that would work.
Yes.
So, obviously, if we were to do that kind of, like, in favor of the plaintiff or in favor of the defendant situation, so if the defendant wins, then we award the defendant behavior on the plaintiff's part, right? The plaintiff has to play with the cat more, or the plaintiff needs to move stuff so the cat can't get into the spots it's not supposed to be in, or I don't know, whatever, that kind of stuff. If we find in favor of the plaintiff, the cat's not going to care. We have no power over the cat.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the cat's punishment could be.
In a way, we have all power over the cat, but we wouldn't exercise it. Right. We could not feed the cat or something, but that would
be horrible.
That would be horrible and unethical, and also wouldn't have any positive effect anyway.
No, because the cat forgot about what it did 2 seconds after it did it.
The cat doesn't even know what it did. The cat barely knows what it's doing right now, probably.
This is especially true of our cat right at this moment.
Who is burrowing under our son's blanket and just wiggling around under there.
Not sure what he's doing under there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, which is why I say that
Never mind the little sounds that our son is making, by the way.
Yeah, he's snoring. I guess the cat's punishment... Yeah, I that is a problem I foresee with this podcast, because I don't know how you punish a cat. I don't think you should punish a cat.
Okay. This wouldn't do anything for the cat or about the cat, but it might make the owners feel better, which is the cat has to, like, wear around a sign for a little while that says, like, I'm a big dum-dum.
Oh, okay.
Or, like, I pooped on my owner's hat or whatever.
So, like, those pictures that go around on the internet.
cat shaming.
The cat shaming.
Or whatever.
All right.
Cats don't feel shame, I'm, like, pretty sure, and don't recognize our human authority or anything like that. So, again, it wouldn't do anything to the cat other than maybe be slightly uncomfortable for the cat, I guess.
So maybe we set up a Cat Crimes Instagram account, and if the cat loses, their picture gets posted on the account.
Right. And it's like, my name is Corndog, and I, jumped on a baby's head or whatever. And I'm a big dum-dum or something.
Corn dog is an excellent name.
It's a pretty good name for a cat.
It's a pretty good name.
I just ate a corn dog, so it was right there, and also it worked pretty well. So
yeah, okay. I like that. I would listen to it. That would be a fun podcast to make.
Okay, so podcast solved. I guess we don't need any more episodes because now we have this podcast that we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Great.
Excellent.
I mean, maybe next week when you turn this podcast on, it'll be like, dun 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 dun. It was April 27th, and corn dog was hiding under the table or whatever. And maybe that'll be the podcast.
Maybe
you never know.
The podcast.
But I have a feeling that maybe that won't happen.
You'll have to tune in next week.
You'll have to tune in. Yeah.
Find out.
Nothing to be done about it but tuning in next time. Hey friends, just jumping in here quick. Please follow us on social media. You can find links to that on our internet homepage, www.coolpodcast.website. That is not a joke. Well, it's kind of a joke, but it's also really our website. So please go there to find links to our social media. Okay, back to the episode. All right.
All right.
I guess we're done.
All right. Bye.
Bye. What was that podcast about? I'm trying to figure it out. What was that podcast about? Could you perhaps help me out? I feel like a big dumb lout. Didn't catch what that was about.